Deputy Sean Crowe is the next question, number 53, and I call on the Minister.
Thank you, Laskin Corla. To date, NAMA have identified over 3,800 units to be considered for social housing. Of those that have been examined to date, 449 have been deemed unsuitable for social housing by housing authorities. A further 594 have been withdrawn, usually by the property owners as circumstances change. For example, units have been sold or let privately and are no longer available. Another 2,010 units are for examination by housing authorities as to their suitability for social housing purposes. At present, demand has been confirmed for over 735 housing units, which are currently being processed. In addition, 250 units are undergoing preliminary appraisal, with another 400 units currently under negotiation with relevant parties, i.e. approved housing bodies, housing authorities, NAMA, receivers, property owners, etc. 239 of these units have been identified for acquisition by the special purpose vehicle established by NAMA to facilitate the leasing of units. To the end of September 2012, 133 housing units have been provided by NAMA, with 109 of these units specifically for social housing purposes. Of these units, 49 are funded under leasing arrangements, with the balance funded through the local authority social housing capital investment programme or by approved housing bodies under the capital assistance scheme.
Deputy Ellis.
Thanks very much, Minister. I suppose before Christmas last year, we were told that NAMA had identified 2,000 houses, and we ended up with approximately 68 houses or places being delivered. And I think that was very, very poor in terms of, for various different reasons, houses were, and properties were ignored. Now we have identified 3,800 of these units, and you've given a breakdown that some of these are unsuitable and some have been withdrawn, and we're now looking at approximately 2,010 of these units. And I don't know at this stage how many that's going to deliver, but we have a housing crisis. We've 98,000 people on the housing waiting list, representing men, women and children, several 100,000 people. And that is the reality, and it's building, and it's getting bigger and bigger. And what we are doing is we're planning to lease these units from NAMA over a period of time, instead of putting these to social housing. And that's the big issue here. Yeah. We need these houses to go to the social housing list and not to be going on a lease with the local authorities.
Thank you, Deputy.
So the property developers and the people who ended up in NAMA are getting a double whammy here. They're getting paid for these. They're getting, at the end of these, it'll return to those who previously owned them after the period of leasing, of whether it's 25 years or more.
Minister.
Well, first of all, I think progress is being made, Deputy Ellis, and certainly the establishment of the special purpose vehicle has speeded up the process. And indeed, Minister Hogan and I met with NAMA on a number of occasions, and the establishment of the special purpose vehicle has now resulted, which is speeding up the process. And just to be clear, I mean, these houses will all go to people who are on social housing lists, but they have to go in suitable places. They have to be in places that local authorities deem to be suitable for the people on their list. So that's why that process is being undergone. Now, I mean, the reality is that because of what has happened to the economy, there's only a certain amount of public money that can be spent through capital projects, in other words, through acquiring properties. And we have to use whatever means are at our disposal, with whatever money we can raise, in order to provide housing for those people that you rightly say are on social housing lists, need housing. And this is proving to be one of the mechanisms, of many mechanisms that we're using to house people who are on lists, who need housing. And it is providing homes for people who need them in various places around the country. It hasn't been as fast, quite honestly, as I would have hoped it would have been, but we have recently been able to speed up the process because of the special purpose vehicle, and I'm confident that, in fact, that will speed the process up further because we now have that vehicle in place.
Deputy Ellis.
And thanks very much, Minister. But I think one of the big problems we're facing with now is, with the rental subsidy, over the last number of years, we've just over 100,000 people, whether on rental subsidy or RAS. This has now become part of the housing list, and people on RAS are being taken off the housing list. And we have people on rental subsidy, some 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And we really need to address this. It's madness us spending 580 million a year on rental subsidy, and we have all these properties, and now we're going to lease them. I just don't think that that's the right road to go. I don't think it's value for money. I certainly believe we are rewarding these people who have let us down, have let the taxpayer down. They've ended up in NAMA. They owe this state a huge amount of money, and they're going to end up getting paid, and properties in many cases are going to be returned to them after these leases come up.
Thank you, Deputy.
I think that is a scandalous way of doing things.
Minister.
Well, I mean, none of us want to be, giving money to anybody that we don't want to give money to. But the fact of the matter is that we have to provide housing for people in whatever method we can find, in the various methods that are available to us. And just in relation to the rental subsidy, we are proposing, and it's in the programme for government, to transfer rent subsidy from the Department of Social Protection to the local authorities, and I think that's the right way to go, because it will put all people on housing lists in under the same kind of system, and will allow people to make choices that are appropriate to their needs at a particular time. So I think that's positive, and it will commence next year.